Hello.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How you doing, Miss Natalie?
I've been on two wheels trying to get home. I had to go to Paducah or go to town this morning, and I just got home. Literally, I was trying to get home because I don't have a good signal on the road. So I made it barely.
Hmm, okay. Well, talk to me. What are we celebrating? What wins are we celebrating?
Well, I have literally just gotten home from the dermatologist. I had my post 1 year surgery appointment because I had melanoma diagnosed a year ago and had surgery a year ago tomorrow. So it's always a relief when they say everything's fine. So I
Hmm?
don't have any new spots, and so that's a good thing. And surgery, all that went well. And so, anyway, it's been a year, and that's a huge win.
Yeah.
And I have been on vacation. So I was out of the country for 5 days. I went to the Dominican Republic, and it's 70 degrees warmer there than it is at home.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I got lots of walking in on the beach and just truly kind of took a rest. And then, I got home at 2 o'clock yesterday morning. So I feel much better today after a good night's sleep and kind of chilled a little yesterday. And then, I was telling Coach Laura, I wore a swimsuit, of course, every day. And I was just proud of the changes that I've made and how my body looks and didn't feel like, I mean, obviously I'm not going to look like what I did when I was 20, but I'm not 20. So that was a huge win for me. I think, I look at myself and I think for 52 years old, I should be very proud. So, um, and then like I wore a jumpsuit that I have actually had for a long time and tried it on several times, didn't like the way it looked or how it fit or how it felt on me. And I was the other day, I thought, this will be a perfect trip to wear that. I'm going to try it on. And I thought, I don't know if it'll fit, but I'll try it on. So I tried it on and it was almost too big. So if I didn't wear it this time, I don't know that I ever would have worn it. And, it fit well and showed off my hard work on my arms. And I was
Yeah.
proud of that. So
Yeah.
that's just a few wins. And, when I go on vacation, Coach Laura and I discussed about, do you want me to get up and work out every day? Or, she felt like that I would probably benefit the most from just letting my muscles rest. And then I went back yesterday to the gym. So I got home at 2 and was at the gym at 8. So, um, I stepped right back into my routine. So here I
Okay.
am.
Wow. What else? What else? What else? 'Cause you have a lot right now.
Yeah, I, of course, some of the people on this trip, I haven't seen them in several months or whatever. And, one of the ladies, she pulls me to the side and she was like, so like, what are you doing? Like, your body just, has transformed. And, you know, I doubt that she's one of those that wants to work out one time a week and see results, and eat maybe one good meal a day and then the rest eat whatever you want and think that you're going to get those results. And I'm like, not how this works.
Yeah.
So, but, it just makes you feel good when other people notice that, your body. Cause I mean, my goal is not to be skinny and my weight's kind of, stayed the same. It fluctuates 2 or 3 pounds. But that doesn't really bother me because I can tell my clothes fit better, things fit differently, and that's what matters to me.
And I mean, muscle weighs more than fat anyway.
Absolutely. And I do feel like that, with my arms, like even when I'm, like raising my arm up to fix my hair or something, I can actually see the muscles. And, that's just been one of my goals is for my age. And Coach Laura reminded me of that too. She said, women our age to be able to actually see the change in muscle, that's a big deal. So I think it
It,
is too.
it is a big deal. And that's a huge win. That's not a small win. That's
Yeah.
Huge win. What small wins do we have? Because everything that you just told me are huge wins. Like you've been winning the lottery or something lately. You
Well,
you've been
I
getting the
just
mega ball.
I think it's just consistency. I have what I call my non-negotiables, and I'm far from perfect, but I just know that, going to the gym, I don't care if my back hurts or my foot hurts or my this hurts or whatever. I just go anyway and do something. I try to consistently hit 10,000 steps a day this time of year, because it's a lot harder this time of year for me because um it's been, I mean, we have snow outside, so it's been literally horrible weather. Um so in the summertime, spring, summer, and fall, I try to hit 15,000 a day, but in this time of year I try to hit 10. So I just think, that's been the biggest thing. And like, I love the app where, and some days I'm terrible, I forget about it, and then I'll try to go back and fix it. But like, just taking the pictures of the food instead of spending 5 minutes trying to type in what did
Mhm.
I eat, and trying to figure out, well, is this the right amount, or was it that, or whatever. And so I just love the easiness of being able to snap the picture, and it's a more clear picture of what you're actually eating.
Yeah,
And I feel like I'm not, because in the program I did just before this for about 18 months, they pushed me so hard to eat like 16, almost 1700 calories a day.
that's too
And
much.
and I felt like it was too much. Like, I felt a lot of times that, like, and like, I think at times they were trying to get me to eat like 165 grams of protein a day. And I'm just like, it did not feel good to me for my body. I
So
felt,
what are your macros right now?
I think it's 1,500 and something. I'll have to look back. But I feel like I just do what she tells me. I mean, and and then I send her a picture, and she told me the other day, she said your portions are literally like on target. Like, so many times people are so far off with portions.
Mm,
And I really consistently try, and I've got an eye for it because I've been doing it so long, because I started doing that in 22. So a lot of it I eyeball, but I can kind of guess. Like, I know the difference in 1 ounce and 5 ounces. That's a big difference.
yeah,
So I think it's around 1,500. But and I feel like that. I can. I'm not so pressured. Like, oh my gosh. Are you below 50 calories today? Did you miss 10 grams? And like the program I did a long time ago, back in 22, if you miss your macros, like if you went over, say, 20 carbs today and 5 fats, you had to give it back tomorrow to
mm,
even it out. So I love not having to fool with that. Like, I feel like I'm nourishing my body, and it's consistently doing well for me. And
mm.
I'm sorry.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I feel like that is a huge win for me. It's just not feeling so, oh my gosh, I gotta type all this in, and you just kind of get overwhelmed with that. And I don't feel like I'm
Mm,
over full or eating too much.
hmm.
And I don't feel deprived either. You
Yeah.
know. I mean, I don't. I feel like I feel like Coach Laura has kind of, allowed me to, keep doing what you're doing because it's working. you
Yeah.
know, and even on my vacation, I still had my 2 eggs every morning, scrambled or had an omelet. Um, and I still had my fruit, and I still had, like, I had yogurt over there because, I had to eat what, I mean, some of those countries, you don't have access to everything we do here. So,
Yeah.
I made it work. And I mean, it, I just kind of do what I do at home, like, and they give you some, I had a few bites of desserts or whatever, but I just didn't get carried away. Like, just, I'm gonna sit here and eat junk all day, and so that's a win.
Yeah. And back to what you were saying, like I don't know who those coaches were or anything like that, and I don't ever want to speak, bad on anybody, but from my personal experience, all that comes down to is in simple terms, a lot of people just stick to by the book only.
Hmm.
They
Yeah.
plug they plug in your age, they plug in your height, they plug in your body weight, they plug in your goals, and whatever numbers come out, that's what they give you,
Yeah.
rather than going based off of what you currently eat, what you currently can do. Have you had any bariatric surgery in the past? Have you had
Right.
any food disorders in the past? And overall, like how your body feels, because 1,700 calories for a woman, that's
Hmm.
unless your goal is to bulk and
Yeah.
to
No.
gain weight, you
Yeah.
know.
No. And I, questioned them multiple times, and I'm like, and finally, without even telling them, I at that time I was drinking like the Fairlife protein shake, and I like that. And Coach Laura and I've talked about it. I like the taste of it, but I felt like my face was breaking out all the time. My stomach felt bloated, and it's just 300 calories a day I didn't need. And you know what? I haven't drank that in a long time, and I'm fine. you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still hitting my goals, so I
Mhm.
clearly do not need that. And my stomach feels better. My face isn't breaking out. So, and I mean, let's face it. If something's sitting on a shelf for a year at a time, is it really that good for you? Probably not. So, I mean, in a pinch, it's okay. But and she's complimented me too about, I am fortunate that I have the ability to have, whole foods. Like, we raise our own and whatever. So, I'm blessed in that way. And she really complimented me. We had a talk, I guess it was last week, and she was, just said like, just keep doing what you're doing, because,
Yeah,
you're doing what you're supposed to be. So,
exactly. Exactly. Okay. Is there anything else that you want to talk about on this call? Maybe to keep you going or to give you a breakthrough or to shed some light on something or to anything.
well, I really, I feel like I've gotten to a point where I really am getting where, because I've never been a huge fan of strength training,
Mhm.
simply because, number one, now if I was standing there with you or Coach Laura, and you're saying, okay, do this, do this, do this, I do it all day long. But for me to have the discipline to go in and do it on my own. And so I'd shared with, of course, we remodeled our gym back in December. And so things were just a little crazy. And so I had her, I said, I just need to focus more on dumbbells. That way, if I can't do it at the gym with machines, I can do it at home. So that's worked beautifully. And I said, just leave it that way, because some days I have time to stay another 30 minutes or so. But she's worked with me to show me, and I think the little clip of the video, I mean, sometimes I may watch it 4 or 5 times to make sure that I'm understanding the form, what muscles I'm supposed to use. So I think your app is probably the easiest thing I've ever, encountered. And it's kind of given me the encouragement that, hey, strength training is not bad. I mean, because I told her in the beginning, I want 20 to 30 minutes.
Mhm.
I don't have the extra time to spend an hour or two extra a day, because I walk for an hour. Excuse me, I do my other workout for, I mean, it's not a full solid hour, but we do some
Yeah.
weightlifting, and some, I don't even like to use the term CrossFit, because it's more functional fitness. We've kind of shied away from all that. Is, we don't do the affiliate, we don't do all that.
Mhm.
But when you understand, when you're doing a kettlebell swing, it's like lifting your grandchild, or,
Yeah.
farmer's carries, or, carrying your groceries in. So, once I've learned all that,
Or your vacation luggage bags.
listen, and I had to do it myself, because my husband had rotator cuff surgery.
Okay.
So he had that December the 9th. And so he can't lift. at
Mm.
all. So yeah, I know people wondered in the airport, why is this little tiny lady having to get all her luggage? And but he could at least scoot them through the airport. But yeah, I had to do the overhead bin, and and that seriously, I've thought about that, like because shoulder press is one of my favorite things. I did that today. I did 65 pound strict press, so
Mm.
no legs.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
just from here to here. And I did 4 reps of 65. I worked up, started at 35, 45, 55, 65. So I was proud of that. And so anyway, but to be able to lift my suitcase up, and I'm so short, I'm only 5 foot. So to be able to put it in that bin, and people just kind of look at you like, okay, so yeah, because my big suitcase is almost as big as me, but I could lift it and no problem. So absolutely, yes, that's exactly what. That's why I do this.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people lose sight of those things as well. Like they just see
Sure,
the people on Instagram and the people, in the magazines and the videos and stuff like that, but they forget about, when they go on vacation, they're gonna have to put their heavy bag in the overhead bin,
that's true. That's
or
true. And
put their backpack on when they're walking on the beach, or dragging their bottles of alcohol to the beach.
yep, yep. Well, and like just walking through the airport, I mean, my husband's 6'3". Our friend's husband is probably 6'5", and we were on the same flight, and we live, a few hours apart, so we met at the same airport. Well, his wife runs, and of course, I had my backpack that was kind of heavy, plus my carry on because I didn't want my husband to do that, and I was able to keep up with her. And when we finally got to the whole other side of the airport, and I think we were in Charlotte, I said, her husband asked me, said, now you see why I don't walk with her because she runs. But I was able to keep up with her. So I was
Okay.
like, hey, I made it work. So
And that is not a small airport. I'm from Charlotte.
are you seriously? We got there, whatever yesterday was. We got there. And as soon as we landed and got signal, they said that our flight had been delayed. And so we were about 3.5 hours delayed altogether, but it was like in 15-minute increments. There was probably 1,000 people stranded. So
Yeah, this big storm that came. Did it affect y'all? Like the power?
we we were lucky. We got out no problem and got back to our airport no problem. But what they told us in the airport was American Airlines keeps selling tickets, but they don't have the staffing to staff the planes, whether it's the pilot, co-pilot, and stewardess, that they don't actually have the staffing. And so they're selling out and overbooking and hoping that people cancel. And there was literally probably 1,000 people stranded. So,
Wow.
whoo, I was glad it wasn't us. I was like, get me out of here. I'll ride on the wing or whatever. I want to go. At that point, vacation's over. I want to go home.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was. But yeah, I mean, even little things like that, just being able to pack your own backpack and pull your luggage, and be able to keep up with people. I'm thankful for my walking time because I've improved a lot. I mean, I walk 3 miles to 4 miles every morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. We walked this. Let's see. Yesterday morning it was 8 degrees here. Yeah,
That's
and
a different level of determination. That's some David Goggins type of stuff.
oh my gosh, I love him. He's one of my favorites. But I agree. You can make excuses or you can get up and do it. And of course, my parents, well, I lost my mom when she was 65, and she loved food more than life itself. And I'm not going to live my life like that. And so that's given me a lot of determination and my brother, he's a little guy. I mean, he's like 5'2", and at the time he probably needed to lose 25 pounds, maybe.
Mhm.
And he had a heart attack and had triple bypass open heart surgery at 45. And so all of that, my dad's had 5 heart attacks, coded, CPR, cardiac arrest, the whole thing, open heart, multiple stents. Just had a heart shock last week again. So all those things, I get in that David Goggins mentality of, you know what? I mean, nobody's going to do it for me. So, but yeah, sometimes I sweat inside the building and I go outside and it freezes the sweat on my eyelids.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I think it was 12 or 15 when we walked this morning. So that was warmer. But yeah.
If you could talk to somebody who's like on the edge, like I don't know if I should work out, I don't know if I should eat healthy, I don't know if I should drink water, I don't think that it's worth it. If you could have a conversation with that person, let's just say they're your same age,
Mhm.
what would that conversation sound like?
For me and what I try to share with people, whether it's my friends or just people along the way that I've met, you know, you can make excuses or you can make something happen. And that's, I had when I wake up, my alarm goes off at 3:45 in the morning and I don't have a job per se. I could sleep in. I could sleep in every day, but I choose to get up and I choose to go to the gym. I choose, yeah, I may be tired. I may be tired today or, you know, whatever, but it's worth it to me because I want to be able to be, who knows, maybe my great grandchildren, get married one day and I'm the old lady having the blast in the corner dancing with, the young kids. I guess watching my parents suffer, I know that you have to choose your hard. And right now, it may be getting up at 3:45 and going to the gym and walking when it's 0 outside and bundling up and all those things. But my body allows me to do that hard and allows me to choose that hard versus if I just let myself go and I'm, got heart disease and diabetes and high blood pressure, then it gets to a point where you can't choose that hard. And
Mm.
so I just, for years, I would wake up and be like, oh, I could go later today or I could do this. And I'm like, get up, little warrior. The only way you're going to be healthy is to get out of bed. And I had a guy that I worked out with many years ago. He told me one day, everything you want is on the other side of this pain. And
Mm,
pain, not necessarily meaning pain as in, oh, my shoulder hurts or my back hurts or whatever, but the discomfort maybe is a better word. Everything you want is on the other side of this discomfort. And so, yeah, while I may be tired and whatever, it's just, I say, you know, you can choose to be sick or you can choose to fight all the way to the end. And I know myself personally, I had knee surgery in 24 and then I had this melanoma removed in 25. I could, even my husband could tell how quickly I recovered
mm,
because I am physically strong. And I believe that, muscle is the longevity of life. And so I want muscle to fight with.
yeah.
If I have to, have some kind of illness. And I told a really good friend of mine's a physical therapist, I said, I always told my daughter, because she used to do pageants, and I always told her, stay ready, be ready. And so, my friend that's a doctor, she was like, well, what do you mean be ready? And I said, don't have to get ready. And
Mm,
I've tried to teach my daughter at a very young age, she's going to be 27, but I've tried to teach her, don't wait until you're 30, 40, 50, you've had a baby and
mm,
your body's all out of whack and you don't know how to eat and you don't understand macros and you don't understand all these things. Be ready. And so when she went to college, I paid for her to have a personal trainer there at the college. And she started work, she lived in her apartment. She fixed her own meals. She didn't go to the drive through at 3 a.m. with her friends. And she called me about 3 months into school and she said, Mom, I thank God that you've allowed me this opportunity to have a trainer to understand all of this.
mhm.
Where she said, some of my friends are here freshman year and in literally the first semester they're unrecognizable. They've gained so much weight.
Yeah.
And so I try to set the example for my family too, of we get to work out. I don't punish my body for something I ate or something I did. I allow myself to have things and enjoy things. I have broccoli and I have birthday cake, but I also get up and, every day I get to go to the gym. I don't have to
Yeah,
go. I get to go.
the
And
mindset.
it's a mindset, and I'm eternally grateful. And I mean, last year when I had a doctor call me and tell me I had melanoma, I mean, I couldn't even say that word for the first few months, like. And I remember looking at my friend who's a doctor, and I said, does that mean I have cancer? Like, I couldn't even comprehend it, because I had worked so hard. But then quickly, through understanding, realized that, oh, this is just a bump in the road and I'm fine. And literally I had it on Friday, and by Wednesday I was doing a dance competition and I'm not a dancer. I've learned to dance for a fundraiser for children for cancer. And I knew I had practice on Wednesday. And so by Wednesday, I was ready. I could raise my arm up anywhere I needed to, but it's because I have strong muscles and I've worked for it. So, I guess that would be my biggest thing is just, you choose your heart, and, you know, your body allows you to do what it does. So get up and do it. I can make excuses. I have all the excuses,
Mm.
and, but I just don't let those stand in my way. I just get up and make it happen.
Do you think that people are born with that drive or they have to develop it?
No, I know I wasn't born with it because, like, my mom was a total procrastinator. She never finished anything she started, ever, ever, ever. And I have worked a book that I read that really helped me. Read it. Actually read it 3 or 4 times because when I feel like maybe I'm not quite doing what I need to, I go back and read it. But it's the Miracle Morning.
Miracle, hold on, let me write that down.
Yeah.
Miracle Morning?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, let me,
And his name, the author is Hal Elrod, and he has several different. He's even revised that book multiple times, and every time he does a revision, I read it. But I've read all of them and listened to them on audiobook. Um, but I felt like that was one thing that really was a pivotal point for me to change kind of my mindset. Yeah. By Hal Elrod. Yep.
okay.
And it was just a very pivotal book for me because it kind of explains, okay, yeah, you're going to be tired today, but consistently not doing anything for the next year, how tired are you going to be then? And just explains um, how that you can change your mindset. And like he was almost killed in a car wreck and his whole world changed. And then he had cancer and he's fought, I mean, like bad cancer. And he's fought that. And, just, I don't know. I've enjoyed the book a lot. It's been a couple years since I've listened to it again, but, um, I did his little journal thing for a while. And so, it just helped me change my mindset of I get to get up. I have the opportunity to get up and go. So I choose to do so.
Yeah, that's the awesome mindset to have because some people they just look at it like, dang, I gotta do this today. I gotta do this today too. I got all this
Mhm.
big list of things that I
Yeah.
need to do today. Oh my God. And then they just treat it like a chore. And
Yeah.
what do we do with chores?
Well, and I changed my daughter went to college in 2017, and we had worked out in the afternoons together for probably a year at that point. And because we had started the CrossFit gym where I still go. And I just remember, like we had started kind of going in the mornings and a couple of mornings a week, and then I would go a couple afternoons in the week. And so I remember thinking, maybe this gym's not for me anymore. Because all the little clicks had clicked, and when I would come in the afternoons, I just felt like I don't fit in. Like, you know, they already, they work together, so they have their little clique, or they go to church together. And I felt like as an adult, I just couldn't figure out where I fit in. So I went to the 5 a.m. class, and a lady that I'm super dear friends with, even now, she told me, she said, Natalie, give it 2 weeks. Come at 5 a.m. for 2 weeks. And I promise you, you you will get used to getting up early and you won't think anything about it. And I said, you know what? That's what I'll do. I'll give it 2 weeks. So then I just felt like this is where I belong. I belong in the 5 a.m. Find a place that you belong and that you feel like's home. And I felt like this is home. This is where I'm supposed to be. And so now I've been doing it 5 days a week since 2017. And I don't think anything about it. But I found a group of friends that we share the same mindset. And I think that's huge too. The people you're around, and I've got a very dear friend that she did great for about a year. Well, she thought it would just continue to be easy. It's not easy. It's consistency every day. It's being tired and pushing through and, showing up for yourself. And so I just decided that that's one time, 99.99% of the time, the world's not awake yet.
Mhm.
I mean, the average person doesn't get up till 6 a.m. So I've already had my workout finished by 6 a.m. So I go to the gym before the world wakes up and
Mhm.
nobody bothers me. And so I just set that in 2017 that is my hour of the day. And and there's over time, I've had a couple of times like my kids were sick and called me because I know if they call me between 5 and 6 a.m., it's an emergency.
Yeah.
But other than that, nobody's texting you and asking you what you're going to do today, or just the BS text that we get. No, because they're asleep. And I guess it just became kind of a badge of honor for me that, hey, you know what? I am the weirdo that gets up at 3:45 and goes to the gym. And I'm okay with that. So, yeah.
I think- yeah. Well, everything is going good, and there's no need for any changes.
Yeah, I feel extremely happy. I love Coach Laura. She's just she's awesome. I mean, she's always there to answer questions or guidance or encouragement or compliments or try this or try that. And I've sent her a few pictures and stuff, and like I said, with the little videos and being able to, because I mean, I have obviously some knowledge of fitness, but
Mm.
that strength is not my strong point. But I feel a lot better about it now. That I I feel like obviously, like I know I did some whatever I did back yesterday, and it pops up and it's like, hey, you hit some new PRs today, so
Yeah.
yeah. So that always makes me feel good because I like doing that, and even in my gym, of course, I track everything at the gym inside an app. And a few years ago, my coach was like, or the man that owns it, he was like, text me and said, you have the highest amount of PRs in the gym above even the kids. Like the kids, they don't care, I guess. But for my age, that's a big deal. So yeah, I love it. I think you got a great thing going, and I absolutely enjoy it, love it. I mean, it's honestly, I don't want to sound like it's easy. I don't mean that, because I think it takes consistency and discipline and all those things. But the app and you and Coach Laura and your videos and everything you got going makes it a whole lot easier to follow and to understand and be like, oh, that's all I got to do. But we want it to be more complicated, don't we?
Yeah, that's why we
And
ask questions. That's why we search and say, no, I need these instructions. I need more information. But the truth is we already know what we need to do. Even if we're
yeah,
in school, if we go to school, we start school January 1st. What do
yeah,
to pass a test? What do I need to do?
yeah,
I got to study for the test, and
absolutely.
I got to do my homework, right?
Yeah,
If I want to get stronger, what do I have to do?
yeah,
I got
yeah,
to if I
yeah.
want.
And I agree, and I think you got a great thing going. And I mean, and like my friend, the one I told you that's kind of on the fence, and well, my foot hurts today, so I'm gonna let my foot rest. Okay, whatever, and I try to encourage her, but I'm not gonna change her. I mean, when
Mhm.
she's ready to wake up and say, okay, well, maybe, but you can find a million excuses in the world. And, she texted me the other day, said, "Oh, I'm going to do this cleanse. I've ordered this cleanse." I'm like, "Good luck with that." You wouldn't need that if you would eat right. But, not my place to tell her that. So I'm like, "Oh, sounds good. If you want to be in the bathroom for 3 days, knock yourself out." But everybody wants the easy way out. And I mean, if you have, I think I would say it's a consistent way, but people, they want to make it so much more complicated and strict and restricted. And I don't like to be restricted,
Yeah.
but I feel like I don't have to be. So,
Well, okay. I'll go ahead and let you go. I'm gonna
okay.
send this link right now. It's always the same link. I wonder if I can pin this.
All right.
I don't
But I
think
saw it pop up there. Yeah. So what is it? 2 weeks?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sounds good.
All righty, I'll talk to you next time.
Hey, have a great day. Thank you.
All righty, peace out.
Peace out.